After binging the 9 exemplary done episodes of the Squid Game series, you were probably left with some of its withdrawal symptoms, but you'll be surprised to find out about some of the most shocking behind-the-scenes moments, and The Focus has covered them all just for you. Seonggi Hon Eats Air. If there's anybody who by now knows how air tastes, then that will be our Squid Game lead character Seonggi Hon, played by Lee Jung-jae. Seonggi Hon was caught on camera in episode 3, eating air. This was during mealtime when the players were discussing what could probably be the next game. The players, who by this time had started getting used to the elimination method of the game, were having what to some could be the last meal before getting shot in the head for failing to pass the next phase of the game. It could have been due to pressure or stress, but at some point during their conversation, Seonggi Hon scoops air from his bowl full of food and eats it. And judging from Ali's facial expression, his friend surprised him from the way Song seemed to enjoy munching the air he got from the bowl of food. Anyway, that is one thing Lee Jung-jae would really wish to forget about, and he probably gets embarrassed every time he gets to watch the episode of his favorite show. However, it is reported that this was not supposed to make it to the final cut, as it was just a behind-the-scenes kind of blooper, and we just can't seem to understand how it passed the editorial team's keen eyes. Inspiration. Many have been wondering what the inspiration of this thriller series is. Well, among many other factors, Squid Game creator and director Hwang Dong-hyuk was inspired to write Squid mostly because of the issue of debt and money lending in South Korea, which is rampant not only in South Korea but plagues most of the world. Hwang Dong-hyuk figured that many people would relate to the show based on this fact. He also wanted to make the challenges or games of death simple, which made him select the children's games that are firstly well known in South Korea and the entire world would find interesting and easy to understand. The irony of it all was that adults were the ones playing these games. He even gave the show the title of a South Korean children's game, Squid Game, which Hwang played in his youth. Hwang thought that in giving the show the children's game title would also be more symbolic of the community that we live in today. What most people find shocking is the fact that Hwang was able to turn a simple idea of a children's game into a masterpiece, mixed with adult habits and struggles that could see him win international awards. Practical sets. The sets in Squid Game were as practical as possible. Surprised? Well, some sets were more heavily boosted with CGI. These sets include the tug-of-war and glass bridge, but the iconic staircase that resembles the works of Escher, the Dutch artist, the Marbles Town, and the playground were all very real places constructed for the production. Even the scary red light, green light doll that seemed to be possessed with a bloodthirsty spirit was real, and the arena for the red light, green light game was a real outdoor set, though it was partially covered by blue screen walls for enhancement purposes. Guess what? The honeycombs were also real, and the whole set smelled of the product all day after shooting the scenes of the game. Okay, although there were enhancements, the tempered glass that the players were hopping onto were also the real stuff, and not just some edited platform. Director Hwang explained that whenever the production needed a practical scene, they had to create it and make it as practical as possible, and that is evident from the success story of the show. In fact, when the cast first arrived on the Squid Game set, they spent most of the time taking pictures because they were amazed by the set design and scale of every single room and game. Lee Jung-jae even explained, "I was so full of curiosity about how the set would be arranged every time I went to film. Whenever we got there, the set would be done so well that we would all be busy taking photos before the filming." The cast. We all agree that the Squid Game cast did a commendable job. From their acting skills to professionalism, these groups of individuals with different backgrounds with regards to cinematography outdid themselves. Lee Byung-hun, who plays the role of the frontman, is perhaps the most known face not only to Korean audiences, but the rest of the world, having featured in the 2009 American military science fiction action film G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and its 2013 sequel G.I. Joe Retaliation as Storm Shadow, alongside Bruce Willis, who portrayed General Joe Colton, and Dwayne Johnson as Marvin F. Hinton or Roadblock. The rest of the cast members are either new to the film industry or are not known to most of the Squid Game viewers. For instance, it was the first acting gig for Hyun Jung. She was a model until 2020 when she signed with Surum Entertainment as an actress, and in 2021 she made her television debut in the series Squid Game. You might also wonder how Lee Jung-jae and Park Hae-soo ended up getting the main roles. Well, director Hwang had them in mind for the roles from the beginning, and all he had to do was wait for their answers and hope they said yes. Also, in one of his BTS shoots, Woo Sung-tae revealed that he had to gain at least 37 pounds for his role after being told that his shoulders were too small. Woo Sung-tae, who played the villain Jang Dok-soo, shared that he lost a total of 161 pounds during the COVID-19 quarantine. But it all changed when he was contacted by the Squid Game production. Biggest show yet? Squid Game became a hit a few days after its premiere on Netflix, and fans were all over trying to post all they knew about the show, and some ended up giving spoilers to those who were yet to have a glimpse of the South Korean hit drama. However, it will shock you to learn that a number of Squid Game cast members had no idea how big the show was for some time until they were invited for interviews. For instance, when Squid Game was the #1 show in almost 90 countries, the cast was invited for an interview on The Tonight Show, hosted by Jimmy Fallon. And during the interview is when Park Hae-soo realized how big the show is. Park Hae-soo was accompanied by Lee Jung-jae, Ho Yeon-jung, and Wee Ha-joon, and he talked about the experience, saying, "I am so thankful that so many folks are watching this through so many media outlets. But I feel it even more at this very moment. It is real. I feel it in my bones." It is surprising to realize that the cast hasn't realized how huge their names are and how big their careers have grown after the show, which is something they have to start getting used to. We just hope they take it to another level and give another season of such a remarkably done show. Baby Squid. Well, in a show that involves killing people in risky games, there is always tension on set, and even when the show is about to be launched on any platform, the mood is always, confusing perhaps, or let's just say it is always full of mixed feelings. It was definitely overwhelming for Park Hae-soo because when Squid premiered on Netflix, Park and his wife welcomed their first child, and his friends gave his son the nickname Baby Squid. Of course, Park had to go and welcome his son to the world before the Squid Game premiere, and in his own words, Park said, "It was quite amazing because the premiere of Squid Game was at 4 p.m. KST, and the first time I got to meet my son was at 3:50 p.m. So he is my lucky charm and a bundle of blessing for me." Can you imagine the kind of anxiety that Park was experiencing at that time, having to handle 2 big occasions at the same time? We give it to him for being calm and able to handle both situations with so much ease. Nanopalm Tripathi. Nanopalm is one actor from the show that has not been talked about enough. Playing the role of Ali, Nanopalm, who is originally from India, did an amazing job, and his death in Squid Game is perhaps the most painful one to watch, followed by Sai Byok's and Ji Jong's. Anyway, the deaths are not the point for today. How many times have you been so interested in something that you had to do it in one sitting? Well, except for binging Squid Game? So when Anupam Tripathi first received the Squid Game script, he read it all in one sitting and said he found the life and death stakes in the show really compelling. Anupam said, "The biggest hook for me was how characters would live or die through a series of childhood games. As you go deeper into the script, you will notice that each character has their own personal conflict. We all are in agreement with you, Anupam. The show was well scripted and the stakes kept rising with each game." It must have been intense during the first read. Anupam also carried home his Squid Game suit as a souvenir, as after the filming of Squid Game was wrapped, he was allowed to keep his Player 199 green tracksuit. Improvising. Most of the time while filming, an actor is never allowed to get out of character because that just kills the plot and the intensity of the scene. Well, for Squid Game, some scenes had to be improvised because, as we know, some of the actors were filming for the first time in their lives. Actor Lee Jung-jae revealed that the cast improvised a lot while filming. One of his favorites was when Gi-hun tried to put the straw back in Sai Byok's coffee and he kept failing. Hyung-jung could not hold back and was laughing so hard that she could not lift her head up. We guess that is the reason most viewers did not get to see her reaction. Originally, the scene was just an outtake, but the editorial team decided to add it to the final cut. Although she was a newbie, she managed to hold down that reaction perfectly and got back in character so well that no one noticed. And that is why she's been one of the most followed actors in Squid Game, not just in South Korea, but the rest of the world. Plagiarism allegations. There are rumors that suggest that Squid Game ripped off the 2014 Takashi Miike film as The God's Will. Many social media users picked out similarities between the two projects, but the show's creator stepped out to disclose that the series had been in the works long before the film. In a recent press conference, director Hwang Dong-hyuk denied the claim, saying, "It is true that the first game is similar, but after that, there aren't any similarities. I worked on Squid Game in 2008 and 2009, and at the time, the first game had already been fixed as red light, green light. It's not really something that I want to do, to claim ownership of this story, but if I had to say it, I would say I did it first." Well, that is quite an allegation, but we are not here to judge anyway. In any case, whoever did it first or not, that's beside the point. The thing is, the red light, green light game was one scary game that even the children who may want to play it after watching the show may have to think twice. Fans enjoyed the show regardless of the many stories behind the making of Squid Game, and they just hope that Hwang Dong-hyuk has room for a second season, because there are still a lot of unanswered questions that they believe deserve answers. Do you think there is a possibility that we could be treated to a second season of the show? Which was your favorite BTS moment? Let us know your views in the comment section below. This has been The Focus.